Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 158 days until Christmas 2024. You know what else? 3 days until I turn 57 years old. I'm an old dude. So thanks to all of you for being here. I appreciate it. Please do the YouTube things, you know, like, share, all that stuff. And we've got a couple friends with us here today to talk about the news. We're going to certainly talk about the Acolyte or a bit of it, but I think there's larger implications we need to discuss. So I've got Ko-Fi Bespin right there, and we've got Making Star Wars. Thank you both for spending some time with me today.
The attack gone by the Jedi has left me scarred and disfigured, so I got no camera now.
Oh, it's all good. And Matt Risman's in the chat. This is a Peeping Plagueis song. Good to see you, Matt. And
I misread when he said that. And I heard it as meep. So meep, 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 meep from the Muppets, but that's not what he meant.
Yeah, I love Muppets. Meep. Is that his name? Meeps?
He says meep. I don't know. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
Max has a cat named Meep. I know that.
Somebody keeps saying meep, but I just think of Roadrunner. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, meep.
Yeah, meep. So the Acolyte as a season, I've been watching lots of season wrap up kind of videos today. Everybody's covering the topic, so why not just join the discussion? As a season, I overall enjoyed it. I've got plenty of things I can argue about. We can go on and on about things I didn't like and just, you know, rant. But as a whole, I really liked it. And for a season one of a series, I like it even better. If it's just a season one of a one season series, I like it less. If that makes any sense, because I think we did some character building, we did some story establishment, but there's a lot yet to be explored. There's a lot of answers we don't have answered, and Leslie and the cast have, as much as kind of said, there's more to tell. There's more to tell here, and I would love to see that. So overall, I'm good on the show. I enjoyed
What's
it.
your number? What's your score?
Out of 10, again, I got two numbers. One is a first season of a multi-season series. I would give it maybe an 8.
Okay.
Maybe 7.5. Let's go 7.5. Let's go 7.5. Season one of a multi-season series. If it's a season one of a one-season series, I would knock it down to about another point, 6.5, a D. You know, if you're looking at grades, the one would be a C, the other would be a D. What about you guys?
I'll let Bespin speak for me, because I think we're going to say the same thing, unless you've changed your opinion.
Well, we're the same person, Jason. So
Basically, yeah.
Well, I think you think, you know, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Yeah.
But Yeah, no, as a episode, as a season, I think I'm around a 5.5 to a 6 as a season, and I'm not talking about the if it's a multi-season show or if it's just in isolation, just around that 5.5 to a 6, and for the finale, I'm like a 7. Are you in the same ballpark, Jason?
Yep, that's the same exact number. I agree.
What about the prospects? I know we're going to talk about the numbers here in a little bit and the probability, but let's take all of that off the board. You're a decider. Would you want more seasons or no?
No, there's things in there which I think are exciting to explore, but I also think that those things I feel are exciting to explore should probably be a series in their own right.
Very good. I like that idea. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I say if you're going to take $180 million, put it somewhere else. I don't think this is going to give.
No, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free money.
Well, when I'm thinking about the other shows that I could get at that price point that I would rather have, or that I think that we would all profit from or benefit from, that's why I say no. But here's the other thing for me is if the show continues, we have two avenues. One is they become lovers and kill each other. And then one becomes the Sith apprentice eventually, and then Palpatine kills them. Don't know if I care about that. Or the other thing is we go full Reylo, and they fall in love, and they go on the run instead.
So you're just flat out not going to play my game.
Yeah, but both of those play in my
you refuse to answer my question.
I'm sorry. Wait. Ask me again, and I will answer it specifically. One more time. Take two.
All else being the same. You get everything that you want in life. Would you still want another season of this or more seasons or no?
No, because I think I got it. That was actually my answer. Is that it's played out in my head where it goes, and I got it. It's fine. I'm content with knowing one path A or path B are the most likely. So I'm a no because I see how they go on the run. Fine. It's just like Rey's parents. I can have a whole show of that, but I know what they did, so I'm kind of good with it. I don't need it.
So I've also heard this other thing, and you guys kind of brought it up. Call this series the Acolyte. That was the series. The next series could
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
Donald Trump, Star Wars, The Apprentice. He's like, you're electrocuted, and she does like force lightning. No,
I think there's different avenues it could go. I do know that one of the things they would like to investigate further to kind of follow on is the relationship between Vernestra and the Stranger and Chimere. Right? They would like to tell the story of Vernestra and May searching for her former Padawan student. So that would be presumably what season 2 would mostly be involved in, a cat and mouse kind of game where they're searching, they're hiding, they're doing their thing, they're trying to find them, that kind of thing.
Oh, she's not. She's like, I almost got busted for being a bad teacher, and she just looked the other way and went back to work because we know how it ends up.
No,
I don't know. I don't think. No. She is bureaucratically evil. I think she just sits on her hands.
No,
but even if like she isn't going to go and seek out Chimere, we know from the other side that Osha's going to seek out May.
Even at the end, she says, "I've got a job for you. You need to go find I need you to help me find my former student." She even says that at the end. And
wait, who does she say that to?
May.
She says it to May, and May's like, "I don't know who you're talking about," but she's like, "Well, we'll have to figure that out." But she has that discussion with May, and then she goes and has a little introduction to Yoda.
Okay, really quick though. Let's rewind for a second. Why would she do that? This guy got her to do evil stuff and kill all her Jedi friends. Why would she go, hey, why don't you go find him? Oh, you don't remember all the bad stuff he did? Why don't you go look for him?
What? No, why would May go find Chimere?
Yes.
Because she's taking Vernestra to go find Chimere. She's not like out there finding her on him on her own. It's not like, hey, I'm going to take you in.
Yeah, it just this is I mean, as a cop, that's a bad idea. Like you're just a
No,
cop.
she
Like a
wouldn't be
cop
doing
show?
that. She's the think of them as investigators. Vernestra is the lead investigator looking for the criminal, and she's got to.
But she gets diarrhea when she goes to hyperspace.
No, she doesn't.
That's her best friend said. He's all, Master Vanessa, you get diarrhea in the burps when you go into hyperspace. Oh, okay, okay.
He's wrong.
Okay. I'm messing with you, Santa. I'm just trying to get you flustered. I'm sorry.
She has force visions when she's in hyperspace. Which are have actually been very, very helpful in having. In some cases, she actually uses it to her advantage, but she can basically be blacked out for the entire trip and not know what's going on because she's been in this state of trance vision kind of thing.
But when did it go like, so May, where do you think he is? And she's like, I don't know who I am. I just remember being 8 years old. Okay,
yeah.
Wait, where do you think he's gonna go next? Who am I?
Well, that's it. She's got to help her unlock those memories, right? She's got to help her work through that.
You're saying Jedi physical therapy.
Yeah. Well, physical, mental therapy. Yeah, Jedi therapy.
Can we do it in a montage? That'd be cool.
You got to do some meditation,
right?
That kind of thing. Get some help from somebody. You get all that to help open up these memories, and she'll probably come back with like, I see an island. Oh, great. Let's go to Octo. Nope, not here. Oh, I see another island. Great. Let's go to
Scarif. Let's go to Scarif. Let's go to Scarif, Santa.
Scarif. Nope, still not here. I still see.
It's not here.
I'm getting it's an.
You can go everywhere in Star Wars that has islands. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
But even
where was the Bad Batch? The Bad Batch was on an island, right?
Oh yeah. Happy Bad Batch Eve, everybody.
But even if like Vanessa and May don't seek out Chimera, like Osha's gonna seek out May. Like she made that promise at the end of the season that she will find her again. So that would be a collision course that is bound to happen.
But what if the whole what if it turns out that the whole show is that Chimera just always wanted to have twins because that's like his thing, Think about it. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, from they're pretty hot. He's the Sith. He's a Sith. He follows his own code. You know what I mean? He gets to do what he wants. He's not a Jedi. He doesn't have to like, oh, I gotta come up with some excuse to hook up with Natalie Portman. Let me jump through hoops. He could just do it. He doesn't have to have ILM come in and put his hand to hold Padme's hand, like with the fake hand. He just goes for it because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't work out with those arms for no reason. Those are twin getting arms. No. Okay. I'm sorry.
By the way, swimming in that pool is really cold.
Shrinkage.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know what I laughed about Santa was when you watch it, when you look at like his like little lair, he kind of has like a little like pool bath thing in his like little abode.
Yeah.
So he was like, nah, I'm gonna make this romantic. I'm gonna go outside and get naked on the beach because that's what chicks like. I was like, you're dirty dog.
So Entertainment Weekly did an interview with Manny and said, so how cold was the water? It's cold. It was very, very cold. So much so that his body went into involuntary shivers that he couldn't control. And they had to put him in a hot tub to bring his internal core temperature up so he didn't suffer from hypothermia. Like,
right.
The dude was not having a good time there.
I actually love his character though, and if they were to continue on, that would be my main pull towards it. Is Manny's he's a good actor. He's good in the role, and so if they do anything with that guy, I would totally watch it though.
Yeah, I want more. And I make no bones about it. I've got my complaints, as I mentioned. I've got my complaints. The show's no means perfect, but
Santa's number one complaint that there's not a season 2.
Well, that will be it. That will be it. If there's not a season 2, that will be the number one complaint.
Right.
And I go back and I mentioned it on Meg's server when we were chatting this morning on Discord that I quit on Rebels during season 1. It was so bad. I was like, no, this in my Star Wars, no thanks. You guys love it. Have a good time. I refuse to watch that. And people kept telling me, but Brian, I promise it's really good. I'm like, nope, I watched it. It sucks. And they're like, no, it gets better. Like, it can't get worse. I'm out. No. And they're like, no, I promise. You need to do it. I'm like, no, promise, I won't. And so
Was
for
it
years-
Ezra thinking out loud all the time? That like kind of
Oh, I hated Ezra.
Yeah, I hated that. I hated
Absolutely
that.
hated Ezra.
He
Plus,
gets
what they
better,
were
though.
doing with the Force and what they were doing with the Jedi. Absolutely terrible show. And for years, I refused to watch it. And then, right before, it was after it was about the time that the Force Awakens came out, and I had this longing for more Star Wars. They
All
said,
right.
go back and watch it. I promise it'll be good. So I went back and watched it, and it does get better.
Yeah.
So as a season one, I can understand people saying, nope, not for me. I quit. I'm not watching that trash. Look, same, right? Rebels. And I would hope that if we got additional seasons of the Acolyte under whatever title, that it would also upward trajectory with the characters, the story. Everybody starts to follow along with where it's going, and it becomes more enjoyable. But before we go there, Bespin, you have numbers, you have maths, you've got like information, data
Wait,
for it.
did you just play into his Welshness by saying maths? That drives me crazy when they say that. No, it's just math. It's just one thing we decided.
You
I
shouldn't
didn't
have
need
told
more
me-
counting to math.
You shouldn't have told me it annoys you, because now
I know.
there'll be nothing but maths on my show from now
I'm a
on.
masochist.
That's
Sorry.
been lay it on us.
Right. So, at the first episode and the second episode count as 1 week of streaming, right? And they garnered 6.4 million views when you do the number of the minutes watched divided by the runtime, which is the Disney method, which is the Netflix method. So 6.4 million, right? Which I think was the second lowest opener, only behind. Only Andor was worse than it.
Okay.
Which had 3 episodes. The second week, so episode 3, it had 9 million views, which is the lowest of any Star Wars live action series in its second week. And the third week, so episode 4, it apparently hasn't made it into the original streaming chart for Nielsen, so it didn't make the top 10, which means its numbers are lower than 290 minutes. So the lowest we've ever had on a third week is Andor with 7 million views, which means this is likely around that sort of number, because even if you do 290 million divided by the runtime, which was dead on 30 minutes, it's 9 million views again. But we know it's lower than that. So at the moment, it could be the least successful live action show in terms of views, how Disney count and track views as of now.
Right.
Well, okay. I want to retract my stance on maths, because you did a lot of maths there.
I did do a lot
and
of
I,
math.
and I think it was wrong of me to assume you did like one calculation when you did a bunch.
Yeah.
So
usually what happens at this point, all the other shows have picked up week to week. The one that didn't was Andor. Like at this point, Andor went back down, which is why it hit 7 million. So this is following the path of Andor more than anything. And just like Andor, this doesn't have a big mid-season cameo, which is what boosts all the other shows. So Obi-Wan, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, whether it's Luke coming in Din or Anakin, this will not receive that, right? And I know there's a Yoda appearance at the end of this one, and the finale you should get more numbers, because I think people binge watch the show.
Right.
But at this time, it's the least successful live action series, at least as of now. And again, we know on average the episode costs more than Andor did, right? 22 million as opposed to 20 million. Andor had more episodes. So on paper, like financially, it doesn't make sense for them to continue with another season, right? Like they only committed 2 for Andor, but Andor was a critical darling, so they were like, "We'll do another season. We'll wrap up the story." And again, that's good for us going to the Emmys in 2027 or wherever else. Acolyte, maybe we'll get like best sound or best, prosthetics, the usual stuff Star Wars gets nominated for.
Best
Does it
chick
go
painted green in a live action series.
Right. So that's where we are with the numbers at the moment. It's less than 290 million minutes. It didn't debut on the streaming chart, which means, yeah, it was low for episode 4.
And they were really confident in it. And I think that's going to make it burn extra hard and make him go, okay, we don't know what we're doing, and turn away from it. That's why I don't think we're going to get a season 2. I also don't think we're going to get a season 2 because I think with Andor, contextually, they were already on track to move forward no matter what. And then the industry started to like change, and they kind of were like, well, we're kind of already in this and stuff like that.
That's why they cut the Andor seasons down from 5.
Yeah, from
3,
5 to 2.
3 in production, and then 2 ultimately.
So I think there's a few things here that I'd like to touch base on, and then also talk about these other series that are in the works. But one of them goes to Iger trying to do a reset, saying these budgets have gotten out of hand. We've got to get these things in line with their delivery method, right? Their platform. We can't just be spending like water, right? It's got to come down. And then the other part is, Jason, you did a story long time ago that they pretty much put their apples in this cart, right? For Acolyte being the next big thing.
Yeah. That's what they thought. I think Bespin might have had that or said that. I can't remember now. I don't remember how this unfolded. But
that they had it the flagship show, and then this was the big conflict. Yeah,
it was like the Disney Plus's main show and what they were banking on, and they were really confident because it was really great, and it was going to be a fan pleaser and all that stuff. And it's I just think, and this isn't even a critique of the show. It just goes to show how they don't understand their audience with Star Wars, though.
It's not just Star Wars, though, because like internally they thought they had like a big winner. They thought it might be a critical thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Andor was. And it's the same thing with Indiana Jones. They took it to Cannes Film Festival thinking that they would get a winner there. Right. And it did not get good reviews. So it's not just in isolation with Star Wars. It is widespread across Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that raises the next question, and I'll just put a pin in it. We'll come back around to it. Don't answer right now.
Okay.
But the question is, if this is not the next flagship, what is? So don't answer. We'll get back to that. I'll also say that, look, the Star Wars fandom as a whole is entirely fractured. There's people that think this is the best live action series they've ever seen on Disney Plus. There's some people saying this is the worst, and you have all flavors in between. I mentioned before, I started maybe a month ago or so, just following people on Twitter X who were positive. Like they were like, oh, I like this episode. Oh, I like this show. Oh, I love Star Wars. I just started following them. And it didn't take very long at all. I can tell you, as of now, well over 90% of my Twitter feed of different people is all, I definitely want a season 2. I would love to get it. This was fantastic. Love Star Wars, right? All of that. So, and I know what Twitter is. Don't get me wrong. I know what it is. It's a small, it's small little segments of populations who talk to each other, right? It's not really good at sharing messages across. It gives you what you like. So
I quit Twitter. I ain't doing it anymore. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't blame anybody for quitting that thing, but it's what it is. And I just bring it up to say, depends on which silo you're residing in.
Well, we know from the numbers though that it's not that it is what it is. The numbers speak for themselves.
Right.
I could find people who love it. I could find people who say it's the worst thing ever, and so on. And realistically, it's just more middling for the most part, and not super great, not the worst thing ever. But if it doesn't even make the top 10 and it costs $180 million, that's all we need to know for the reality of it for me.
And again, that's streaming originals, right? That's just original TV shows made by streamers. So it doesn't include other
Family
things.
Guy and all that.
It wouldn't include Family Guy and Grey's Anatomy and wherever else. It's just
all the comfort shows.
Like the Boys was like really high up on it. I think it might have been number 1, and like for the week, stuff like that. But Acolyte had fallen out of it.
Well, what's interesting about like what I keep noticing though is that Andor wasn't the success that we needed, but all of the shows that are getting the numbers that they wish they had aren't babies. Are baby shows not made for babies? Like they need to get more grown up with. They need to find a way to be grown up with Star Wars while still entertaining children. But even if the kids don't know what's going on, they're just like, I like the space thing. Like they need to get that going on on their platform, or I don't know why they're doing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm rooting for them to be clear. I went and waited like 8 hours in line to see the Acolyte outside in the summer heat, like with my kid, so we could see it first because we were excited for it. Like I'm cheerleading it, but in trying to make it like kind of in that middle ground, my kids jump too. My kids don't like it.
Well, there's a reason I brought up the budget is a part of it, because, and then the numbers, and then the last part, we know social engagement on Acolyte is really high, but social engagement includes people who are just jumping on the bandwagon of hate or love or whatever, right?
Well, no, okay. So I don't mean to interrupt you. The thing, Star Wars has a big culture around it, so its engagement is always inflated, no matter what, compared to everything else that doesn't have it. So the social engagement numbers are completely worthless. After 3 years of looking at them, I'm like, there's nothing to really garner from this unless there is no social engagement.
Well, I don't disagree with you. The point is only like, how do they make the decision on a season 2? I think it's got to be off of budget if they can bring it into something reasonable, and maybe more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to this flagship statement that we talked about. If they are like, no, we're in this for this scope and it's larger than one season, they may push on regardless. I don't know. I'm not sitting in their boardroom and I don't have any idea what they're saying, We
do know before the show started, Leslie said that viewing figures would be a pretty significant factor into a second season. That's why she tried to, wrap up a lot of threads in the first season. It was just in case.
Well, and it's more than that. So yesterday, Matt Risman shared a news article. Today I shared a news article, and in both of them, Leslie and the cast who are being interviewed keep talking about, hey, tell people you want a season 2. Hey, season 2, we've got so much more to tell. Oh, we've got a lot more in the tank to tell. Make sure you get other people to get excited about it too, right? So there's a bit of marketing going on by the people involved in it to try to garner up views, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Can I hit on something that I actually liked that she said about a season 2? One of the things I thought was intriguing that she said was she was talking about how like Plagueis doesn't have all of the power that everybody wants him to have or expects him to have. She's like, that's not a place to start his story. That there's nothing to be told there if he just already has everything that he wants. So the thing that I do like about the prospect of a season 2 and the possible inclusion of Plagueis in that season is that we're going to see something of his quest to articulate the power that he has to make life in a way that becomes palatable to Anakin years later, So I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Seth, this comment I highlighted because I feel this way. This is, I think people that like it are scared to post about liking it because they'll get attacked by the other side constantly.
But I think it's the same for the other side, though. Because I tweet things that's usually in the middle of the road. if I'm giving it a 6, right, that's above
You're a
average.
twink. You're a twink.
Yeah, exactly. Like somebody replied to me and said I'm a twink because I gave it an episode of 7.
You're a shill. Give it a 7. You're a shill.
Yeah, exactly. So
sell out.
It's on both sides. Like it's equally as bad on one as is the other. Like one will attack you for liking it, one will attack you for disliking it.
Yeah, and Meg's getting attacked for being critical, and even Meg's videos. You watch her videos, and she does a very balanced job of covering it. She gives her own opinion. Like, this didn't work for me. I didn't like it, but here's the explanation of it, and she does a great job. Love her. But she's getting attacked by people saying, "Oh, you've turned toxic. I'm out," and they unsub. So I get it. It comes from both sides, but it goes back to talking about this fandom as a whole is fractured. We have different goals, different things that we enjoy, and it's not one flavor for everybody. No matter what they do, and I listed this, and this is a good time to transition to other shows. Just go through the list of Disney Plus live action shows. Past Mando 1 and Mando 2, which were largely received well. 2 was iffy, but then it ended high, right? Mando 3, a lot of grumpiness online about it. People yammering on about how bad it was. Andor, not real Star Wars. Bricks and screws. Where's Darth Vader? No lightsabers, no force. It sucks. Boba Fett, not my Boba Fett. Hate it. Kenobi, what's the deal with chicks having to be in my Kenobi show?
The Reva show, I loved it.
Yeah, Josh is an idiot.
Yeah.
Josh
not only that,
complete moron.
Not only that, but also
one person.
Why do we have to have young Leia?
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the architect for the map for it, which was Star Wars Theory and Josh Lucas. They were morons. And looking back at the numbers, oh, they wish they had those numbers today. They wish they had those numbers on everything else that they've done.
Yeah,
that's once again we come down to the brass tacks of the math of this. The fandom, you could pull anything from somebody saying anything and getting a discourse on anything, but the numbers speak for themselves at the end of the day. That's where I keep going back to. I'm sorry, Santa. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ahsoka season 2 or season 1. Most of the way through it, people are complaining about it. Oh, you don't have enough this or enough that. That's too this, it's too that. Like the acting's weak. Then on and on and on. People go about Ahsoka season 1, and then we get to the Acolyte. People complaining. So it leads to the next couple of questions. We're going to get back to the question I put a pin in to come back to.
Okay.
And I think Ray makes a really good point. We need to kind of change the format of these Disney Plus shows. I don't disagree with her. I think longer shows with more episodes would do better, but they got to keep the
but what's the logic in that though? If you want longer shows, you got to give it a bigger budget.
Well, that's the problem.
You got to film more. And if you want more episodes, you got to give them. Like Andor just cost $250 million to do.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna commit that in this day and age. Like,
it can't be done. It can't. You would you would be better served just making movies because you get more possible return on it. I think.
So let's talk about the upcoming shows because I'm desperately wanting to talk about the topic I pinned. Right, we've got the Skeleton Crew coming up. Right, I talked about how fans grump about everything that's come since Mando 2. How do you think the Skeleton Crew is going to do?
Not well.
Anything?
Yeah.
No, I think this is just a place where we're in. I don't even think it's due to the quality of the Acolyte. Like I've spoken about it before. I think general interest is down overall in Star Wars, and it could be in part to quality of a number of shows, but I think the biggest thing is oversaturation, right? Like, and then when you go into these things that have lesser known characters or completely new characters, right? So the Acolyte and Andor is lesser known, right? But you have Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, the two biggest. Outside of The Mandalorian, they're the most successful shows, right? Like, so going into like Skeleton Crew with a new cast. You know, Jude Law, yeah, he's a known actor, but you got a cast of kids, and we have no idea how those kids perform. In the trailer at Celebration, we didn't see much of the acting from the children, you know. And yeah, so I don't know. And this is the one apparently they were less confident in, you know.
Well,
So
yeah, and I take what he says and I go a slightly different way with it, proving that we're not the same person. In that, I think that I think the films combat saturation by when the oversaturation happens and the people start to bounce. I think the blitz of the big media campaign that goes with it, bring in new people, making it self-sustaining with moderate growth to little growth, but still growth. And I think without films, I don't think Star Wars can exist as a TV franchise. I think it must exist as a film franchise, primarily with TV shows that become like actual events. I see the opposite of Lucasfilm. Don't eventize movies. Eventize your TV shows. Make a lot of movies and just see what's a hit. That's
what I think. Yeah, what I think they should do is we only have 2 on the board at the moment, right? Skeleton Crew and Andor season 2.
well,
and
Ahsoka
2, right?
And Ahsoka, right? Yeah, but
okay.
Before Mandalorian and Grogu.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So what I would do is I would do nothing after Andor. I wouldn't put another show on Disney Plus until after the Mandalorian and Grogu releases.
You're jumping the topic by just a bit, because that's what I want to talk about. I really want to talk about it. But I also suspect Skeleton Crew is not going to be well received because of this fandom, for a large part of it. There's people who want Darth Vader season 17, and we haven't had Darth Vader season 1 yet. Right?
Oh, I want Darth Vader to order 66 all the kids of Skeleton Crew. That'd be sweet. Star Wars Theory, let's do it, bud. Let's do our fan film. Give me $1 million.
But I think Skeleton Crew, you're going to have a portion of the fandom that says, I want grown-up Star Wars, like with grown-up TVMA kind of content. And you're going to get young actors in a bit of a, is the right word silly or
campy?
Campy. That's the word. Maybe a bit campy. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go back to remember when Ahsoka was shooting, Skeleton Crew was being shot side by side.
Yeah.
And people were saying, man, they're not having fun over there. Right? Like,
no,
we love our lives. They're not having fun. Now, and you guys were really, really strong on saying, look, the people working there are professionals. They're working hard. They're kicking butt over there. They're doing fantastic work. But people aren't having fun. Not like they were on the Ahsoka cast. So I just put together child actors not having fun. Is the direction going to be good? And when the show comes out, if it's campy, people are going to say it's not serious enough. I need my serious Star Wars with, murder. I need that. So I think a portion of the fandom is going to reject it offhand because this isn't my Star Wars. Then following that, Andor season 2. I know Andor season 1 has kind of grown some appreciation since it came out, but also Andor, not really about lightsabers and the Force so much, is it?
It's all about Bix. I know what you're saying, Santa. I know what you're saying. It's about Bix.
Well, there's people. Star Wars equals the Skywalker saga. Anything before or after the Skywalker saga isn't really of interest. Well, here you get something that's within the Skywalker saga era. However, no Force, no lightsabers.
Wait, and Skeleton Crew?
No, Andor.
Oh, sorry,
Season 2.
Andor. Okay.
Andor season 2. I'm not expecting to see the Force used, Force users. Not expecting to see Jedi. Not expecting them to be involved in any major plot, right?
We'll probably get a Monopoly board and/or Monopoly with Darth Vader on it. We'll be like, Darth Vader's coming, and then he won't come. Remember that? Remember back in the day when we had that Boba Monopoly board? We're like, oh, Mace is in it.
yeah. I'm just thinking, look, Andor season 2 for fans of Andor and people who have come along. we're very excited about the writing quality on it, the maturity of the story itself, very high. Andor is, I think, unparalleled among other live action shows. I just don't know that it will attract the viewership. You know, we already had season 1, not real Star Wars. You know, is season 2 going to feel all of a sudden like real Star Wars if you didn't like season 1?
Well, imagine if they had somebody like Gilroy creating a show that was like Acolyte. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the whole thing. Is what would have happened if they had done the checkboxy, this is what gets Star Wars people at least to check it out, with that level of entertaining and quality entertainment. That's something I could put it, I guess. And like, but we haven't had that yet. But at the same time, I don't think any of these shows can succeed without the films. That's where my head is. I just don't see it. I don't think it matters what they do. I don't think it matters if they make it good or they make it bad or they put lightsabers or anything. I think we need the films and maybe these things to be at least addendums to the films that come out. That would probably cross promote in that way. That might be a smarter way to handle the future for them.
Yeah, there you go too. You best, but you don't want to wait for me. You're like,
I'm sorry.
We're tired of waiting on you, Santa. We're going over here anyway.
Yeah.
So
I don't have show notes, so I'm just going by the convo.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm hazing you guys. So the Ahsoka season 2, I think, may be the best fan received, if it's executed well, of all those live action series, right?
Yeah.
It's got the most potential. It does have an overlap with the Mando movie. So back to what you were just now saying, Jason, we get the Mando Grogu movie. It does occur in the same era. I just don't know if it's going to come back. Like if Ahsoka and Sabine are going to spend more time over in Peridia, and when we get the whole thing with what's going on with the Mortis folks, what's going on with Balin and Shin, I don't know if season 2 is going to primarily live there or what. And if that's going to bring people in that tie into the Mando Grogu movie, because that's happening in a whole different universe. Don't know.
For now, I mean, that's my only thing about that is like, I keep wondering, are we going to get that story? Or are they just going to be like, oh no, the Mandalorian needs us. He has a movie. Everybody get on the spaceship. You know what I mean? This ancient spaceship we found that can go all the way back to where we come from. You know, I mean, we don't know. Probably won't do that, but it could do that, you know?
It could. So here we go. So what's the future of Disney Plus live action shows? We don't have anything after Ahsoka season 2 that's in the pipeline that we know of for live action Disney Plus releases. What is the future of that then?
Well, I think you just adventize the TV shows, and I think like by doing so you look at HBO, right, with House of the Dragon. That happens once every 2 years, and it is on obviously HBO as the network, and then it also streams on Max like at the same time, right? I think there's no real money in streaming anymore. Like Bob Iger has completely shifted Disney from their full focus being Disney Plus to being back to theatrical, and that's evidenced in making Mando season 4 a movie and Moana, the TV show Moana 2. So they know that, and I think that the general interest in Star Wars has gone down for various reasons. I think the market is oversaturated by Star Wars, and I think you need a gap. So once Mando and Grogu happens, I think when you do a Star Wars show following it, I think you should air it on TV and on Disney Plus. I think you do the two, because I think like that justifies the money that goes into these shows a bit more, right? Because then you're getting money for whatever cable channel is on in the US or whatnot, right? Like you're making money through that avenue, and you're making money through the streaming avenue, right? And I guess more eyes on it, it might open up more people to even subscribe to Disney Plus to check out the rest of the Star Wars content. But I think you've got to, like, I know they've said it, that, like, with Star Wars and Marvel, you're going to be lucky to get, like, 1 or 2 shows a year, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I think that's the way it should go. I think they need to turn down, and again, it's not what we want as, like, Star Wars fans. We want Star Wars stuff often, right? So I'm not saying this is, like, as a downer. I'm just saying this is, if they want to bring more life back to it, that's what they should do. As to what that show should be, I don't know. But if I'm them, I'm looking at some of the stuff that's happened in the past that's actually giving them views. And, you know, maybe in a couple of years I'd do the Kenobi season 2. You know, bring on a different showrunner. Don't have Deborah Chow as the director. Like, get a better writer than Joby Harold, and go from there. And I'd give a similar advice to Headland. Like, yeah, you're a good TV showrunner based off of Russian Doll, but the writers' room you assembled wasn't good enough. Like, when you look at Tony Gilroy, the writers' room he assembled was, like, basically the Avengers. You know, like, he did the best he could. Like, Leslie Headland had Willow writers. Like, it's so different. But I would do 1 Star Wars show a year at most, and I don't know. They just got to sort of treat it with care. You can't do $180 million budgets anymore, and you need to be making more money than just put on Disney Plus, because it's not doing well enough, as evidenced by the numbers on this. And even going to Ahsoka, like, Ahsoka did okay, but it wasn't greenlit like straight away. It took time. It took months to get to the point of that decision being made. And that had nowhere near the amount of money spent on it as the Acolyte did. So you've got to sort of rein it in. People always look at Netflix and HBO and, like, sort of follow suit, and I'd start doing that now. Like, with looking at House of the Dragons and major TV shows, even something like Yellowstone airs on the Paramount Network, isn't that expensive, gets millions of viewers when it airs on TV, and then you have the people picking up on streaming. I think that's the sort of way you got to go. But you got to put down the volume. Even if I want to see more stuff, the volume of shows has got to come down.
And I also think that the lesson that should be learned, I don't know if it's been learned, but it should be, is you can't make something what it's not. These Star Wars TV shows are not Star Wars movies. And every single time we have a TV show, it tries to pretend like it's a movie, but it's not. So I think a part of us kind of rejects it for that. And then it doesn't adequately do what TV shows do because it's doing that. Like we don't get it. Like a House of the Dragon Star Wars show should not be hard when we have the Phantom Menace laying out, like, in a dopey way, admittedly, but exactly that same kind of stuff, like slight political intrigue with some action. And, like, we don't really have that really happening very well. And so I think, like, going forward, I would not do a show on a movie year, especially. And I could see them doing it, man. I could see them being like, we don't got nothing for 3 years, and then them doing, like, a movie and a TV show in the same year. They cannot do that.
Well, Ahsoka would likely be 2026.
I know.
They probably have 2 movies.
Dumb. I hate it.
Very dumb.
Yeah. So I think, as far as, like, getting 1 show a year, I think the writing's on the wall for that. That's why I laid them out that way, right? There's only, we have 2 shows that are, let's say, in the can, right? Those are ready to go. There's only 1 show in production. And then if we were to green light a new show, whatever, you know, make your wish list, make it up in your brain and say, that's what we're going to green light. Well, how soon does it get to script, production, post-production, and we'd see it?
5 years, like everything.
Well, yeah, you look at the Acolyte, right? The Acolyte, they went to Leslie at the end of 2019, I think, and that took 5 years to hit our screens.
Ahsoka was season 2 was approved to move forward. What? Less than a year ago.
But also remember, Dave's been working on some of this stuff for like 10 years. And you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit, that one's a little bit different because it's a Filoni joint.
I get it.
Yeah, that's.
But
I
still,
will say that the
it's always
Favreau
like-
Filoni stuff will hit the ground running faster in general for
Yeah.
obvious reasons.
but
it's
even
also-
with that, it's not like next year we're going to get Ahsoka 2, right?
Right.
Shouldn't be. No, it should
No.
be 2026.
Hope so, but
yeah,
doubt
that's what I would think. That's what I would think because they haven't started filming Ahsoka 2,
They're
have
still
they?
writing. They're still writing it.
Yeah. So it's not going to happen. So you got at least Jason. I heard you said 5 years. It's going to be at least 3, at least. Right.
That's what
So-
it takes usually when sequels of big budget TV shows though these days is 2 to 3 years.
Right.
So yeah,
if
you
we
like
haven't-
yeah.
if we haven't started it, we don't, haven't even gone down that road yet. Then we're certainly not going to get more than one live action series in 2025, 2026.
But we don't know what like conversations and what meetings are taking place at Disney. And
yeah, and we don't know,
Right,
like,
no,
is
like-
Lando really a movie? Is it really a movie? Stuff like that.
like you look at Damon Lindelof, right? Like he was working on the Rey movie a year before anybody even found out about it, before Jeff Snyder like broke it. And then when it was announced like last year, that project had already been in work for 2 years. You know, and it was still being written. That's still apparently 2 years away. So they could be working on things in secret. They could be writers. They're trying to develop something that will ultimately get picked up and greenlit. And we wouldn't know. There could be a writer's room of people there right now trying to concoct like at least a pilot script for something, or
Right.
pitch, and going from there. But we don't know. But again, like we've said, that what they should do is go down to like maybe one show a year. So even if it is, Ahsoka's 2026, nobody really at the moment needs to be working heavily on a new show for 2027. And again, you could always revisit one of the ones that already exists. So Kenobi or Boba Fett, you could revisit one of those because they were 2 of the most successful shows.
Well, if it's 5 years, like Jason said, like that's standard 5, then it's 2029 before we get another series.
Yeah, but we don't know if anybody's already working on stuff though.
I know that's the whole thing is, and my personal just opinion is that they have to be afraid of announcing anything now because they have messed it up way too many times of, hey, we're doing this, and then it doesn't happen. Hey, we're doing this. The director's gone, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
I think that they're gonna really be as tight as they can until they must say something. That's why like D23, I'm hoping there's something there. I don't expect there to be anything because it would be an announcement for something far away.
If I'm Disney as well, I'm not doing much of D23 for Star Wars because you have Celebration coming up in the April, right? The following April.
Yeah.
And
Japan,
there's
right?
no movie in 2025. Like there's only Andor coming out. And Andor would have already been released at that time. So you've got to have project ready to be announced and something to energize the fandom. All those people who paid money to be there, at that point. So
lie to them. Tell them what they're going to see that they're never going to see.
So I'm really conflicted about this whole thing because I've enjoyed in the Disney Plus era. I've enjoyed all those shows.
I have too. For the record, for the most part, I'm glad that everything exists.
Me too. And I've had fun doing the speculation week to week, coming up with theories, reviewing them. It is a ton of fun. And being able to spend time with my friends talking about Star Wars, you guys.
Yeah.
I would miss that. If we don't have, one movie every 3 years coming out or something, well, what do we fill the space with in between? Animated shows, certainly. Animated shows are fantastic. I
was going to say we could work out maybe.
Well, I could do that.
Yeah, me too. But maybe we could go to the gym. I don't know. I'm just thinking of things we could do, Santa. That's all.
Well, you're not wrong.
Oh,
You're not
investment.
wrong,
You're fat. Sorry.
Very.
I'm kidding.
So I mean, we have to have your Santa suit let out. You're fat. But
This year, I didn't have to put the stuffing in my Santa suit. I'm good to go.
Look, the animated shows are great, and I think we could pretty much bank on future seasons, if that's what you call them, even of Tales, right? The little 6-episode things that you watch in a day. We can pretty much bank on future seasons of Visions. Again, those are short episodes that you watch in a day. And Meg had a video she did last week about the potential of having a
Tales of the Beaver Sniffer show. No.
Ventress and potentially Quinlan Voss
Yeah.
Animated series of some sort. That's assuming that they're not part of a Tales thing, but a full-blown animated series like Bad Batch or Clone Wars, something like that. So then what? If and what is that? We haven't heard that announced. So I think animated, and here's my fear, is that Disney Plus turns into Disney XD, and it's for animated shows like and I know we're getting a season 2 of the Young Jedi Adventures, but is that it? It's Young Jedi Adventures, couple animated shows, and then
Yeah,
that's it. Is that the future of Disney Plus original content?
Well, not for Disney Plus as a whole, because
Star Wars.
For Star Wars, yeah, like Star Wars, you might go into a thing of, again, everybody's doing it. It's not just Disney. Like you just saw HBO say, all these shows that are Mac shows, they're going to be exclusive to our streaming service. The amount of money and effort and time we put into the productions, they're becoming full-blown HBO shows. They're not just going to live on Max as a streaming service. Disney need to be doing something like that, right? Like, because it doesn't justify the cost of it. But everybody's tightening their belts. Like Tony Gilroy said it himself when Andor had 250 million. He was like, "Is at a time where everybody just throwing money at streaming services, as content for streaming services. We are way past that now. A lot of studios just use their streaming service now as this is where our stuff is after it goes to theaters, after it goes on TV. That's what it's being used for. So, like Bob Iger said himself earlier in the year about how do you expect to grow Disney Plus, right? How do you expect it to go? And he said by making more content like Shogun and The Bay. That was his answer, right? Like the Shogun and The Bay, they aren't that expensive to make, and they get a good enough viewership for Disney to justify their existence.
Actually, I have a question. Is Shogun cheap? Because it looks expensive.
I think it's a lot cheaper than Star Wars.
I'll say this, and you guys already know this, but for anybody watching, neither of those shows are for me. I've watched The Bear. I watched 2 full seasons of it because one of these knuckleheads over here, one of these guys, I'm not going to tell you which one. Just
hey, listen, 2 out of 3 people here like it.
One of them said, "Oh, Santa, it's the best show that I've seen in my entire life."
I did not say that, but yeah.
Oh, it was pretty close.
Listen, if I had known your taste going into it, I would have told you to watch something else. Jason
Sorry, I'm kidding.
Jason watched it at the same time as you did, and he likes it.
Yeah, I do think it's a little overrated, but I do think it's very good at the same time.
No, it's very bad. It's terrible. It's the worst show that I've watched all year.
What do you dislike about it?
Santa doesn't like chaos, and it's a show about going through chaos. It's a journey through chaos.
Constant, and people just being terrible.
It's like when we come on your show, and you just don't like it,
right? I can't.
This is the bear. He lives it. He is the bear.
I cannot deal with it, and my family's not like that. We don't have those kind of fights. If we do have something that we disagree on, it's nothing like that, and it's uncomfortable for me. It's unpleasant. I don't enjoy watching people scream at each other and being just terrible humans. I don't enjoy that.
Do you want like an actual recommendation from me for you?
Okay.
Like now that I know your interests.
Yeah.
Abbott Elementary.
Yeah. You think you would enjoy it?
I'll try to watch that. I will try to watch it.
It's a 30-minute comedy about teachers at an elementary school. It's good.
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot. And then if you're 0 for 2, then you know we're gonna be.
Don't listen to me again. Don't listen to me again. I'm like, I know Jason's tastes. I tell him stuff to watch like fairly often, and they usually hit. But
usually they're like twins, stuff like that.
Yeah, I did spend time thinking about the stuff you said, the shows you like and dislike, and that, like, from what I've seen, that was the one I could come up with.
Hey, I'm reminded something just went through my brain because somebody mentioned my birthday. It's coming up Monday. I will not have a show on Monday. I just celebrate my birthday with my family. We don't normally do that, but today is a friend of ours' birthday. All right, As a True. It's today As a True's birthday.
As Drew's birthday. Happy birthday, Booba True.
Yeah, Booba True. We call him Booba True now. He's all about chicks now. He's cool.
Happy birthday, As a True. Thank you.
Playing the game called Love.
It's good to know you. It's good to have you part of the community. Appreciate all that you do as well. But yeah, so what is the future of Disney Plus live action? I agree with what we've discussed here. Maybe one show a year, maybe, and maybe none, and that makes me sad. It makes me really sad because I've enjoyed every bit of it. I'm up for more of it, and I just don't. As optimistic and as positive as I am, and as much as I've tried to surround myself with people who are positive, there's a reality side of it. And I was trying to do this earlier, and these guys weren't allowing me to have as much fun as I wanted to. But it's because I try to go up, everything positive. But at the end of the day, there's reality, and the reality comes down: is anybody watching it? And the people who are watching it, are there enough who would want to see more of it? And that really becomes the question. And do we see something that costs $200 million get a show on a service that it's difficult to measure your ROI? I just don't see it. And especially when you hear words from Iger saying we've got to pull back on these budgets, and you see the amount of money that are spent on some of these, and you can't really pinpoint where that money is. And, you know, I'm not an accountant. I'm not sitting there looking at the books, but you just watch it and you're like, wow, that was expensive. And did I like it? Then great. They spent that money well. Did I not like it? Oh, they did a terrible job spending that money, you know?
Yeah.
And it's difficult. It's really difficult with the way they report streaming data. And Bespin, thank you so much for the work you do to look into it and scrub it for us and do all the maths. You know,
all the maths.
There. I do have to cut this discussion off. This is exactly the discussion I wanted to have today, you guys. I really appreciate it. We have a Mike Porter dad joke that you guys got to catch, right? So it says, what do you call, or who's the Sith that would always supply food for special occasions, work functions, and all of that? Who's the Sith that supplies?
Is it like Darth Vader? Is that where he's taking this?
Oh,
I knew it. I knew it. You're fired. You're fired. Chosen pun.
You're a dad. You get dad jokes. You're a dad. You know, it just comes natural. He did a really good job.
Imagine how many kids Mike Porter must have that he doesn't acknowledge, because he's super dad mode for that.
Look, I love animated projects. And Sketchcraft's giving me a hard time about it. I got Young Jedi Adventures. I enjoyed it. I will watch season 2.
Would you say whipped ass?
Would you look at that little blue bear and go whip ass when you see him?
No.
Are we gonna get matching little blue bear tattoos? That little Jedi, you know, maybe me and you.
Maybe those ones that you put on, you know, with the water and the sponge.
And then we go down to the pier and get the guy with the nose ring to do it, right?
No,
over it.
No. No. Real quick, just so that we can touch base on it, because the topic of the show was the future of live action Disney Plus. Like, what is it going to look like? I think we've done a really good job of covering that and what that looks like. We do have the Mando Grogu movie in the works. Any updates from either of you? What you're hearing on the ground? Anything like that? Or,
On Monday we'll have a little something.
look at you.
Yeah,
That's exactly how you're supposed to do it, Jason.
I like that Rob just got told off by Streamlabs in the chat.
Shut up, Rob. Shut your mouth.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, take it to Twitter if you want to talk like that, Rob.
He used one word, and Twitter and Streamlabs says, "Yeah, when I have that." So news coming Monday. That's how you do a teaser at the end of a show. That's exactly how you do it. Good job. So is this a joint article from the two of you?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. I'd say it's a kind of a one tour. A little bit.
The power of one, the power of two, Jason.
The power of us.
Yes, that would be great. And I said this before. I've got to reach out to my friend Martin Keeler, because Martin, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but he has contacts with different bands in for like Celebration. Mm-hmm. And next year there's Celebration in Japan. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Martin has worked on it, but one of the bands that he books is Ash, and Ash, one of their members came on one of my streams when they were doing the big event in London last year.
Yeah, it came on mine too. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
guy.
You remember? That was great. So Martin Keeler helped organize all that. I got to reach out to Martin and say, we need one of these bands to do a cover of the Power of One. We need a cover band that
it'd be like the Power of One.
It's actually called the Power of Two, though. Remember that.
Yeah, we need Martin Keeler to help us make that happen.
And I go to the bathroom sometimes, and I do it. If I'm just going number one, I just sing the Power of One. If I'm going number two, I do go all to the Power of Two.
When he's been sat on the toilet for 20 minutes, he's saying the Power of Many.
The Power of Many. Yes.
There's another. They just released Daisy Ridley's movie onto Disney Plus. Her swimming across the lake.
I touched her costume like a weirdo. It was at the movie theater I was at, like the actual one. I was like, touched it.
I like that Rob's so creative in the chat now with his naughty language.
So, you've heard about the Star Wars character that's a rock, yeah? And have you also heard about the Star Wars character that's a box? His name is Kyle Carton.
Kyle Carton.
Look, Sketchcraft. He knows how to get around the Streamlabs censors.
The power of a dollar? I don't even know what that means.
The power of free market. Is that it? No. But Daisy Ridley. So her movie Crossing the Channel, where she's swimming across the channel there. I was trying to get Baymax, I saw Baymax in the chat. I was trying to get Bespin to correct me on calling it a lake, but he didn't take the bait. But swimming across the channel there, that movie just released on Disney Plus. But the Rey movie, we're still yet to see, or she is yet to see a full script on that. The last I heard, have you guys heard anything else in motion on that movie?
I think you and Jason, maybe Rob for the last article I did on it, which I said I had heard, which was it was removed from production for this year, like it was taken off the calendar.
Right.
There was reports that it was going to be in April. That was the case, but last summer. And then people were saying September, and like that's when I asked again. I was like, no, it's still not on the calendar. It's gone. Okay. The reason is script issues. Lucasfilm want to get the script right. They don't want to rush into the production, apparently. But I don't know what's the situation with Knight. He'll still be credited but like I don't know if they're bringing on a writer to like just do a final pass at it, like which is very normal.
That was what a source of mine thought was going to happen. They didn't think that Knight was gone. They thought he was going to stay as a producer for sure, but that there would be another writer. Doesn't mean to be the only writer though.
Yeah, it could be a co-writer to come in with him to help with it. But like Knight right now, he's putting final touches to the Peaky Blinders film, which starts shooting in September.
Well, and there's the other dude who said he's working on a movie too.
Sean Levy. He has Jonathan Trapper to write the movie with him. They've worked together on 2 movies before called The Adam Project and I Think You Should Leave, I think is what it's called. Both of them are fine.
So we have a number of Star Wars movies projects in the sphere.
Starring Ryan Reynolds, probably, I think.
Please, God. No.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to be. I think that's why you get a Sean Levy movie.
I think you can do Ryan Reynolds as a droid, but he can't be a main character.
Oh no, he's a main character. He's a main character.
As long as he's not playing some goober, I'll be okay.
He can only ever play the same character.
He could be that goober as like a smuggler type guy who's just like a jackass. I mean, it could work. I know. I'm not saying it's what I would pick, but that's what I think.
So we have those 3 movies that are like actively doing something. There's other movie projects that like.
Well, remember Bo Wilmot came on to Dawn of the Jedi like a couple of months ago.
Okay.
From Andor, so they're progressing on that script.
Okay. What is that? It? What about some of the others, like Patty Jenkins' movie, presumably mothballed?
Yeah, mothballed. Taika, he's just signed on for another project. Taika's gone. Essentially, he's doing so many other things at the moment. Lando, like
who knows?
Donald Glover and his brother are writing a script, like a movie version of it, but. Come on, like that's
who knows? His brother's gonna have to like take it over, right? I did see though that he is. I think I read he was retiring. Childish Gambino. He's gonna stop doing that after this.
He's retiring the name.
Oh, he's still gonna rap though. He's still gonna
make music. Yeah, like he's going on tour. I think in August. And then he's got like a bunch of other movies he needs to do as well. Like he's writing Mr. and Mrs. Smith season 2 right now. He's
not starring though, right? He's not in it.
No, he won't rule it out. I think they're gonna appear later on.
Okay. I just saw an update on that that said he was not in it, but okay.
Yeah, the reports came out that they're not in it, and both him and Maya, they've said that they won't rule it out. So I think they're gonna keep it as a surprise more than anything. That they're live.
Probably gonna have an appearance.
Yeah. And then, like, Dave's movie is supposed to be 2028. I doubt that, like, heavily. Like, I think that, like, it'll be a bit later. But...
And it's also going to be contingent upon how Favreau's Mando movie does, I think, too. If Favreau's movie comes out and makes $200 million, I don't think Filoni gets his chance.
Yeah, so last question, we've got to go, is when do you think we get, like, a real update on all of this, any of it? D23 is like a couple weeks away. Then we've got I'm thinking no on D23. What do you guys think? No?
Same. I think no.
Well, D23, I think they'll talk about Skeleton Crew, Andor, and Mando and Grogu.
Yeah, Mando and Grogu might be like, guys, we're filming it. Here it is.
Yeah. And then, but like D23, I think they've only got one day, right? Like for the announcement day, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's only a couple hours long, and that's got to cover all of Disney stuff. So it's not just an hour of Lucasfilm. So,
right. And in the past, when they've done like they did like big announcements for Star Wars, it wasn't like John Williams comes out and the trumpets start playing and stuff. It was like for like Rogue One, they threw up like a picture of the whole cast. They're like, "This is Rogue One. It's filming at Pinewood Studios, and this is the cast." Next, and they just moved like right on. It was crazy. So they can put something 5 seconds up there and do that, and you won't see it coming. But it's not a big deal when they do it.
Yeah,
So-
if I'm Disney, if I'm Lucasfilm, sorry, I'm holding off until Celebration. Because
Yeah.
you need to give those people who paid a lot of money to be there, who've traveled across the world to be there, like good reason to be happy with their stay. You
Very
know,
good.
like the Celebration, the last Celebration, I went to it and they announced a lot of movies. We've had no progress on any of those movies, but
I think they're going to announce that the Godzilla -1 guy is going to do a Star Wars thing at Celebration
I hope he
Japan.
doesn't. I hope he stays away.
I hope he does.
I think
That was
I think
great.
that's my not based on anything prediction. He's Japanese. It's in Japan. He's been around them a lot lately. Everybody
Well,
loves the movie. I would rather he just keep making his own great movies too.
Yeah,
but
that's what I want from him. Yeah, I don't want him
But
to.
they were
Star Wars.
flirting with him pretty hard a couple months ago, right?
I
he's
don't
amazing.
wanna-
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's not the type of
All
guy
right.
I wanted in Star Wars.
Well, I've got to wrap it up. I got to get out of here.
Cool.
Thank you both so much. I had a lot of fun talking with both of you today, and hopefully we'll get an update soon.
Let me in.
And I've got to go. So
Bye.
with that, bye everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. And until next time, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and may the force be with you always. Bye bye.